we will have our Padma Shri awardee, that is Dr. Khadar Vali, the Millet Man of India, presenting multidimensional problems of the world and only solution, the millets. Celebrating the International Year of Millets, we are at the ballroom of the residency at Coimbatore, and this is an event which is hosted by the women's chapter of FICCI, that is FLOW.
Dr. Khadar, often referred to as the Millet Man of India, is a renowned independent scientist, food and nutrition specialist, and has dedicated his life to promoting healthy living through the consumption of millets. His remarkable work in the field of food as medicine has garnered a widespread recognition and innumerable accolades, including the prestigious Krushi Ratna Award, as well as one of India's highest civilian honors, the Padma Shri. Dr. Khadar's journey towards becoming a healer through food began when he made the courageous decision to resign from a lucrative job in a multinational corporation in the US. He firmly believed that the right kind of food, a simple lifestyle, and appropriate agricultural practices are all that society needs to mend its ways and achieve optimal health. On his return to India, with this mission, he transformed himself into a champion of millets, showcasing their incredible potential to cure and prevent a wide range of diseases, including cancer. With 25 years of relentless pursuit in reviving Siridhanya, or positive millets, Dr. Khadar has identified and discovered the efficacy and healing properties of 5 such Siridhanya. He propounded a method called Kada Krishi, or jungle farming, to cultivate them naturally, and ever since has been spreading awareness about these miracle millets, demonstrating the right agricultural practices and also healing thousands of people. Dr. Khadar Vali Garu is a native of Produttur town, Kadapa district, Andhra Pradesh. He has pursued his Master of Science Education degree at the Regional College of Education in Mysuru and obtained his PhD in steroid biochemistry from the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru. He further honed his scientific expertise as a postdoctoral fellow in environmental science at Beaverton, Oregon, and later as a scientist at CFTRI and DuPont. Beyond his dedication to human health, Dr. Khadar is passionate about nature, preserving water, and saving the soil for future generations. He is an expert in homeopathy medicine and appreciates yoga greatly. He has authored many books in Telugu, English, Kannada, Tamil, and Hindi. His work has taken him across the globe, where he has been invited to speak about millets and sustainable living methods in countries such as USA, UAE, and Nigeria. He has thousands of followers on his YouTube channel, Dr. Khadar Lifestyle. He currently resides with his wife and daughter, Dr. Sarya, a homeopathy doctor like the father, who both have been partnering him in his cause of a healthy and sustainable society. Now, we have the privilege to learn from Dr. Garu's vast knowledge and experience as he shares his insights and wisdom with us. Please join me in welcoming the Millet Man of India, Dr. Khadar Vali, with a round of applause.
The first domesticated grass was C4 grass, that is millets, was discovered by women all across the continents. It's not one woman. All women, different parts of the world. It is the women who made the human race economically and stable. It is they who invented agriculture. It is they who made human race stable. restless men were running around, gathering, eating, doing all nonsense. The credit of agriculture has never been given to the great nurturing, nourishing, loving mothers of the past and even today. More than anything, it is the sovereignty of the great ladies that has kept the individual, the family, the village, places all around the world in different formats, different ways of living. But it was the women who manured the whole system. But when it became powerful, when it became the power king, and it is sad for me to see that to empower women is a word, the phrase used is absolute sensitive. It is the power of the woman which empowers the world. Sadly, the way that data is collected itself shows that there are no rural women in other countries. There are no Italians, for that matter, anymore. Right now, there are no Italians born. There are no Germans. The average age of German is 56 or something like that. In Europe, many of the countries are disappeared. There are no people around. And here we are, a rural to urban migration by men, because these guys do not want to work, who are left there, and they are calling it the feminization of agricultural sector. It has been the women who have done the agriculture. Men never did anything. They were running around like years. It is the women's knowledge of different kinds of leaves. In fact, I have personal experience. Here, Chamarajanagar, I am gone. There was a lady of 88 years old. I couldn't walk with her. She was funny, showing in her 8 acres of land more than 400 varieties of greens. She was just uttering word after word. I was just catching my breath to walk behind her. So much knowledge, so much power. And it has been the men's crookedness all through time immemorial, not acknowledging this ever. Even today we are not acknowledging. We are telling there is feminization of the agricultural sector. You see how topsy-turvy the way we are represented, with an increasing number of women in multiple roles of cultivars, entrepreneurs, laborers. This is not the way you look at the situation. It is that they have been nurturing, they have been doing all the great good things, but no recognition has been done. So including the knowledge, the credit should have gone to women. It's not, because these control gatherers are always hunting and gathering in all dimensions. So be it. You are so kind. You are so... I have no words, because I have seen personally my wife. It's unimaginable, the qualities of women. We can't even dream to be in that kind of situations. The emotional, it's incredible. It's incredible, and I'm glad I have a platform to express all these things, because I could never speak like this in a platform where men are running about. So, I have had actually opportunities to meet many laborers women. I have actually addressed thousands of women in villages, but I could not speak to them because they are so being agitated, they are being robbed. Just recently, we have actually had the opportunity of keeping 30 so-called lifestyle. You people are all telling this lifestyle diseases. They are not lifestyles, they are lifetime diseases. Diabetes, cancer, thyroid, all this. Actually, there are no diseases at all. I will let you know as we go along with it. We collected 30 of poor people in a village called Kurugunta near Anantapur district and town. We kept them in an 8-acre land in a hut. We gave them 30 days food of milks, and all their diseases just disappeared. Just disappeared. They are taking insulin, they are taking this tablet, that tablet. So step by step, in a matter of 30 days, we removed all their medicines. I never asked people to throw away their medicines. Step by step, steadily, structured manner, you have to get out of your medicines, that addiction to the medicines. Out of that 4 women who didn't have sons or husbands who have left them, single women, we kept them in the same place and created a small canteen. So now they grow millets, they dehusk the millets, they make food, dosa, idli, khichdi, and they feed the people on the roads. I mean, the roads mean people who come and go. People around in the village. We did bring it to the city. We did that, and now those 4 ladies, in fact, one of them is 70-year-old lady. She makes rotis on a regular basis. Now they are themselves. They grow their food, they dehusk, they value add, then they feed the people. They have cured more than 300 so-called lifetime diseases. Single ladies left out by the society. This is what is called empowering. This is what is called empowering. So they produce, they process, they add the value, and feed the people. And please, never ever use the word consume. We don't consume. We eat food. We take a part of the food. This word consumption is because of this Western thought process. We are nearly consuming the nature itself. We don't consume food. We eat food to live. Rather, we live to eat, which is the thing right. We eat to live or live to eat. We eat so that we live. So these are the corrections that I want to make. Without thinking deeply, we are being taken over by this Western thought process. So millets you do not consume. You consume pizza burgers, not millets. Millets you eat or you take. So the consuming culture of the Western thought process, the food that we have been eating in the last 75 years, which is not the food at all in its true scientific definition. I will make it clear as we go along, as we flow along. What a beautiful word, flow. Millets. Millimeter is the last thing that we can see. Beyond that, if you divide our eyes cannot see. Millet, piglet, chicklet, look, anything small is called millet. So the grains of these C4 grasses, which are more than 6 to 8 thousands of varieties on this planet, belong to a very special group of photosynthesis called C4. And bear with me, I am a scientist. I have to tell the beautiful difference of this great millets. I mean, there is a millet called great millet. It is called jowar or sorghum. That's it. word given to the sorghum is called great millet. But for me, everything is great. Millets are great because they are the only solution for all the problems of the world right now. All the problems of the world. So far, everyone talks about food security. Till today, including our Prime Minister, has not uttered the word sovereignty of food. Food security doesn't exist if there is no sovereignty. Sovereignty is a word used, first word in our Constitution. Each and every individual is sovereign and secular. Sovereign means the ultimate right to decide what he or she wants. So the sovereignty of food is being lost in the name of science, in the name of development, in the name of progress, in the name of industrialization. All these so-called scientists have developed patenting intellectual rights just because they can tinker with the natural materials, little bit here, little bit there, and then patent and take the rights of the seeds from all the farmers of the world, which has been time immemorial no one's property. So the sovereignty of food and food security are the same coins, two sides. But all this industrialized world speaks of its only food security, which is absolute nonsensical. There is no food security if you do not speak about sovereignty of food. That's what has been done by this industrial food scientists. I use the word so-called scientists because if your food is creating imbalance in your bloodstream, the first thing we need is homeostasis of the blood. So when you eat food, the rice, wheat and sugarcane, selected food materials by this industrial food scientists, first thing that happens, and that has happened in the last 70 to 80 years, is disturbing the homeostasis of the blood. And I'm talking science. Any mammalian system, if you put into its blood more sugar is the penultimate product of the digestive canal for human beings or many animals. In fact, it is the glucose that is burned to give energy in your mitochondria. Every living cell. Of course, some of the cells are chosen, some of them are not. Most of the cells have been provided by mitochondria where you burn glucose, release carbon dioxide, make a biological battery called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Please bear it with few little technicalities. I have to speak. ATP is called a battery of energy, biological battery. So essentially, life form on this planet is nothing but just a movement of energy in different forms. So the energy of sun, which is non-material, the frequencies of various radiations, is captured by green leaf and make glucose. And that glucose gets transformed, transmutated into various compounds on this planet. And when a tree dies, it goes deep into the mother's, earth's stomach and becomes fuel for future generations. Everything is storing of the energy in different forms. So now when we eat something given by the plants, our digestive canal from mouth to anus, what all it does is it again makes the glucose flow into the blood, and the blood takes the glucose into each cell to be burnt and to produce ATP. And it is this ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the last bond broken, gives energy to your muscles, to your eyes, to your lungs, to your heart, to pump the blood. Everything happens because there is ATP. So if carbon dioxide is not going out, if I just close your mouth and nose for 3 minutes, you will die. But if you do not produce carbon dioxide, you have no energy. So now, between death and life, if you remove carbon dioxide from that means if you use glucose, produce carbon dioxide, you are living. And if you stop taking oxygen to burn glucose, you are also going to die. So if there is no oxygen, and if carbon dioxide doesn't go, there is no life on this planet. That means the movement of the energy, that is life. And your body, my body, dog's body, lion's body, everything does the same. So it is the movement of energy, Shakti Sanchaya we call. So there is nothing beyond this. Everything is movement of energy. And in a larger state, the water evaporates, makes clouds, and then it's actually the water that makes everything happen. In the photosynthesis also, it is the energy between oxygen and hydrogen. The electron is stolen away from oxygen by the energy. It's called Dike reaction. You take the electron which was supposed to be with oxygen, give it to the hydrogen, make nascent hydrogen. That's what is dropped onto carbon dioxide when you make photosynthesis in the light reaction. Without photosynthesis, the energy is not being transformed into material. So non-material energy becomes material in the form of glucose and transformation. So it is the non-material domain to material domain. And the material domain, different forms, again becomes non-material and you live, animal beings. This is the energy cycle. Understand this well. So glucose is the balancing act. If glucose increases in your bloodstream, it becomes thick. That means your blood is not going to be pumped properly by the heart. And while pumping becomes difficult, your blood vessels start scaling the components inside, be it cholesterol, be it triglycerides, fat content increases, and you have heart blocks, you have BP, you have all these so-called lifestyle diseases. And when you have BP, the doctor gives you a tablet, and you ask him how long I should take this. He says lifelong. What if he said, don't eat something that increases glucose in your bloodstream? Keep the blood balanced for glucose. So we have been imbalancing the glucose in our bloodstream in the last 70 to 80 years. That's why we have BP patients decade by decade increasing and taking tablets for lifelong. Because these doctors are not going to say one word, stop eating rice, wheat, sugar. Sugar, we produce 48 lakh tons per year in India alone. You know, America and Europe have been producing much, way beyond much. And to produce 1 kilo of sugar, you need 28,000 liters of water. To provide that much water, humans have been guzzling up, mining the mountains and building the dams, stopping the rivers, not allowing the flow of rivers, damming the rivers and creating imbalance. You see, to produce sugarcane, we have engulfed 28% of agricultural land. And it's not for sugar actually, it's for liquor that all the governments all over the world do this. So the liquor and sugar, both we don't need even a single milligram or single milliliter of. Both spoil your health. And rice and wheat, which also guzzle up water, 8,000 liters per kilo for rice, 10,000 liters per kilo for wheat. These three industrial foods are chosen by the so-called green revolution experts. I use the word so-called very conscious. Very conscious. The word so-called is they were real scientists. With all due respect to all the science that is involved, we should have been warned. Human race should have realized by now that we should not be eating rice, wheat, and sugar because they are producing glucose in an instantaneous, without gates, unregulated release of glucose is happening in the world for the last 7 to 8 decades. So, glucose imbalance is created by the choice of the food. Who has made the choice? Not the tribals in the Chhattisgarh or tribals in the Vishakhapatnam or Puloya. These green revolution experts came and said because they wanted to sell their fertilizer, which is actually the leftover of the bomb material. So they want the bomb technology and bomb businesses to go on uninterruptedly. Even if you have war or no war, they keep making bombs. And once the shelf life of the bomb is over, they have to deal with this bomb material. They converted it into fertilizers. And these fertilizers are helpful only for the C3 gas because they increase the yield. And that's the magic they said. If you give water and fertilizer, the yields of rice increase 3 to 4 folds because it is C3 photosynthesis. Whereas millets are C4 photosynthesis. They don't care whether you give water or not, they keep producing the food. So they didn't like this because there is no role of fertilizer in millets. And millets grow everywhere. They don't need water, they don't need restricted weather conditions and things. So all these so-called scientists now that are taking climate resistance, all these so big words, they knew this. Why didn't they choose rice and wheat as? Because they want to sell their bomb material. Period. No discussion. And all the experts of the world, all the scientists can talk anything they want. I'm going to refuse to be drawn into any discussion because this is exactly what has happened. Period. No ifs and buts. But then these guys came and said, hey, you're eating bird food. You're eating pig food. You're eating primitive food. Then all of a sudden, all over the world, the farmers were growing millets in abundance, especially in India. Felt totally confused. Oh, we're not eating humans' food. No, we have fine and refined food. This is the food, PL 480. They took over the constitutions of the world and convinced these so-called policy makers to use this as food. In fact, it's so sad that we declared ourselves we didn't have food and they are going to give us food. And that's how this so-called wheat claim thing. And I'm not naive in saying that there was no rice or wheat in India. There was. Zamindars who had lands under their lakes or ponds, they used to grow these, and they are the ones who had diabetes. They are the ones who had. Out of crores of people, few have diabetes. Not that we didn't have diabetes before. 200 years ago also we had diabetes. I mean, the fellows who had diabetes is the fellows who ate rice and simple, no discussion. Period. You understand what I'm speaking? So there were millions of people, not millions, millions of human race has been eating these wonderful millets and they never had any problem. No BP, no thyroid, no diabetes. Absolutely zero. Zero. Because we have reversed. Not thousands, lakhs and lakhs of people can have thrown their tablets and insulins once they started eating millets. Some people in 3 months, some people in 6 months, some people in 2 years, depending upon how slow or how fast they are in getting rid of their addiction. Like rice addiction, sugar addiction, coffee addiction, alcohol addiction, all addictions. I am using the word very conscious. You are addicted to rice. You are addicted to wheat. You are addicted to sugar. Sugar is the best addictive compound on this planet. Not pure, marcin, codeine. They are all very, very later. Caffeine, nicotine, all these are not addictive compounds when compared to sugar. If I rate sugar as 100, the next value I have to give to morphine is 80, not 85. That much difference is there. So what it means is that you cannot have sugar on your mouth at all, not even 1 milligram, because your immunity goes haywire. I am at lost. I am on cost. That not even a single expert on this planet says do not eat sugar. But we are producing tons and tons and lakhs of tons of. And we call ourselves very scientifically advanced. And these experts have been weaning away the real farming communities, the food that they were eating for millions of zillions of lakhs and lakhs of years. The first domesticated grass by the wonderful ladies, they called some of the grasses were actually giving the grass. They didn't see the seed. They said, this is Shudradanya, because you cannot see the seed. They are so small. Then they called it Chirudhanya, Kirudhanya, Trunadhanya. These are the words in our literature. Because you cannot see them. And that, in English, all over the continents, it's not just the story of India. In fact, foxtail millet is known as Italian millet. Later millet is known as African millet. Brown top millet is American. Even today, Colorado grows tons and tons of brown top millet. Sadly, the most advanced scientific institution called FDA labels it not for human consumption. Writes bird feed on that. So all over the world, scientists call brown top millet bird feed. So you cannot eat it. In fact, the brown top millet has the best carbohydrate to fiber ratio as 5. If you divide carbohydrate by fiber, you get single digit. So any grain that has got single digit ratio of carbohydrate to fiber is the healing grain. Now the experts are saying millets are nutritionity. Nutrition is there all along. The best nutrition you want to have, these 5 grains have. Quarter millet, foxtail millet, barnyard millet, brown top millet, and little millet. And one of the millet, barnyard millet, is called Japanese millet or German millet. And quarter millet is actually called Himalayan millet. I mean, all the countries, China, Russia, all these Himalayan belt called Himalayan quarter millet. In fact, Arka is the name of quarter millet in the southern part of India. Arka is actually name of who? Sun. Arka is called sun. So in the Himalayan belt, once the sun rays hit, there is no depth for water. So in fact, the least amount of water to produce quarter millet is 150 liters. That because I have done the experiment and found out. Otherwise, they don't need any water. They can absorb the water in the atmosphere by a hygroscopic bacteria which reside on the leaves, underside of the leaf. So water is no issue at all. Anywhere and any place. Doesn't matter. They grow. So the minor millets require by calculation, fellow like me was done the experiment below 500 millets per kilo. How much? Below 500. And the major millets like ragi, kongu, jowar, and whatever, proso millet, which is actually a husked grain. And you see these 5 minor millets are husked grains. That means you cannot sprout once you remove the husk. So paddy rice, if you remove the husk, you cannot sprout. So the embryo is integrated with the husk and the egg. So if you remove the husk, its capacity to sprout is gone. So that's why these grains have disappeared, because dehusking is a huge problem. And all over the world today, no one has done anything about dehusking the millets. Because earlier, we used to pound, we used to use chakki and remove the husk. And that's what we were doing all along. So we now developed, my sister developed a small mixie wherein you can dehusk. A single woman in a day can actually prepare 20 kilos of dehusked millet rice and then sell in the market. So we actually have created flow of economy for a single lady. She can grow in 2 to 3 months these millets. If you have one parched land, dry land, where there is no rain, Anantapur district is, as you all know, is so-called climate resilient lands. There is absolutely no water. So we can grow these millets. In fact, in Andhra Pradesh, the best district to grow millets is Anantapur. Just recently we have had the says I have been visiting Anantapur for the last 5 years and educating all the farmers, giving the seeds. We have done that. So then where there is no water, there is no rain also. Just 4 rains are good enough. Now, highest millet growing district is Anantapur. That means you can grow food anywhere on this. Anyway, so now the sad story of human race is that we are talking about food security. Just imagine you have 100 acres on this planet. You can, with all your mining, with all your technology, with all your GM crops, with all your high increased yields of hybrids and genetic modifications, you can only irrigate if you choose to eat rice and wheat 10 acres. The remaining 90 acres is out of focus. And that's what has happened. All the 90 acres farmers are out of focus because what they grow is labeled as no food for you. This is what has happened in the last 100. No expert has said anything about this. No agricultural scientist. All the agricultural scientists are hired by food corp. Am I making sense why they do not want to speak about it? This problems as I entered America. And the defining moment was for me when I met a 6-year-old girl menstruating, given steroids, not knowing what to do, in the reception hall of a hospital. This happened in 1986-87. I was shocked to my life. How on earth we had a girl of 6 years becoming an infant? It happened. Now the average age of girls, I don't know how to use the word girls and women. You're supposed to be menstruating, starting cycle at the age of 40, 50. Throughout the history of human race, that was the case. And all of a sudden, Europeans and Americans decided otherwise. They started feeding their babies house milk. Heaven sake, they don't have cows on their legs. They borrowed one of ours. And then made genetic modifications, IVF, in vitro fertilization. That means if you have 1,000 cows, at any given point of time, you can only have 10% of the cows bear calves. That means only 100 cows can give milk. And our cows were giving 1 or 2 liters because the babies only gave once or twice, and they used to grow in 6 months. And that's it. Period. The milk used to stop. But then these guys made in vitro fertilization. 1,000 cows, they can make all 1,000 cows give babies. All 1,000 cows milk. And on top of it, with growth hormones and sex hormones, they made each cow give 25 liters. They didn't even allow a single calf to take the milk. They milked it. Do you understand the word now? They milked it and packed it in cold rooms and plastic sachets and said milk, complete food. It was written all over the world in scientific books and journals. No one questioned. They fed their babies. Their babies started menstruating at the early ages. Over a period of 5 decades, the menstruating ages came down. The average age all over the world right now is 9 years, not 14, 15. So now you have a lot of gynecological problems. PCOD, endometriosis, menstrual cycles not being all right. If they come, they don't stop. If they stop, they don't come. And said, gynecology problems. Thousands of gynecologists. Big departments. Lot of research is going on. Where is the problem? Until today, no solution. Because the problem is drinking milk. Now, all human race believes you drink milk because you need calcium. And every woman on this planet has calcium problem. They have been drinking calcium milk. What it means is there is no calcium in the milk that is absorbed. You have for your scientific data 968 milligrams per liter of milk, but you can only absorb not over 10% of it because the proteinaceous material doesn't get into your body system. You know that your milk, that is mother's milk, gets dried up when around 2.5 years old because you have to wean the baby because the mother's milk is drying up. That means the milk digesting enzymes in the baby's tummy is switched off genetically so that you do not digest milk anymore. Not cow's milk, your mother's milk, I'm talking. Your mother's milk you cannot digest. Imagine you give second birth to the second baby in your own tummy and the same breast gives the milk. For who? Not for the first baby, it is for the second baby. That means the milk is so dynamic and so specific. It's not only that. The first 3 days of the milk is different. There is cholesterol, there are antibodies. And then, why? Because the growing baby doesn't have the mechanism of immunity. So you want to protect the baby. You see how beautiful, how dynamic, how flow. The flow of the milk. The lips of the baby decide what is the constitution of the milk as the baby grows. And this is the beauty of mother and baby. That's where the nurturing comes in, being made anxious. The mother understands this. And all the mothers of the world, be it cow, be it lion, be it tiger, be it rabbit, that's the same. So here we are, so-called intelligent, so-called civilized. I use the word so-called very conscious. Human race drinking milk in the name of calcium, in the name of fortified vitamin D. And the most vitamin deficient right now in the whole world is vitamin D. And we have been drinking fortified vitamin D medium, tons and tons, not only as all over the world. As if drinking 1 liter of milk is not enough, We are concentrating, making paneer, making cheese, ordering Zomato and eating burger and pizza. You see how concentrated we are making all the unwanted food. To produce 1 liter milk, you need 1,500 liters. Not to grow the cow, it is just to produce and process it. You see how our food has been consuming nature. That's why I tell with all humbleness, never ever use the word consume when you eat food. You are eating food, not consuming. The consuming culture has taught us that we consume this, we consume that. No, you do not consume. You are consuming nature to produce this so-called rice, so-called wheat, so-called. And then the byproducts, making them eat. In fact, now is so-called industrial food. This happened in Green Revolution, White Revolution. Now they have one more called Pink Revolution. Well, everyone needs protein, protein, protein. Basically, there is no protease in our mouth at all. We only have 5% of proteases in our body because the plant protein has to be divided into amino acids so that we can make the proteins that we want. This is the science of it. You cannot eat animal protein and think that you can digest and make your son. But all you get is your steroids from the meat. This is the sad story of eating eggs, milk, meat. Now people are eating cow meat, cow's meat, pig's meat, rat meat, what not, all kinds. Just unimaginable. Unimaginable. And you expect to be healthy? All imbalances. Microbial imbalance, hormonal imbalance, glucose imbalance. These 3 terms I termed like for Dr. Khadar. I used the word very conscious because this should have been done long ago. Long ago. I am a scientist, I am talking about science. So we have not chosen our food right. It has failed in all its dimensions and definitions. So what is food? Food has to be something that doesn't disturb glucose balance in your bloodstream in the first place. And then doesn't disturb the hormonal balance because hormones are chemicals that control thousands of biochemical processes in our body. And if you were to eat millets, you will never ever go beyond 70 kilos, even if you're 7 foot human being on this planet. But now 5 feet ladies are weighing 300 kilos. And you call it obesity. You go to Texas, Houston, get down in the airport. Big wall. Welcome to Texas. Here everything is big. Now I walk out. And we have so many diseases, huge list. In every country, there is a law called Wonder Drug Act. It was, if some lawyers are there, Wonder Drug Act 1954. Can you believe this? And this is the evidence that these guys have planned in the boardrooms of these companies that India is going to be diabetic. Or we will sell the tablets lifelong. And they call it lifestyle diseases. They are not lifestyle diseases. There is no disease at all if you eat the right food, which controls the glucose release, which controls the hormone balance, which controls gut microbes properly. All your problems are solved. Zero problem. So all these so-called lifestyle diseases, we said, when you remove them, like this, like this. In fact, as on as 7 days, you can see the difference. So we bring in crores of diabetic patients. I'm not talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crores. You feed them for 1 week. See their values. Crore out of crore. The numbers will go. Not even one will not respond. Despite they doing all nonsense statement. Only thing they require is to eat millets. The moment I say, how many times we have a morning breakfast, lunch, in between snacks, again evening bonda, and then night dinner, 3 course, 5 course, 12 course, power lunch. What all words that mean? My comments. You need to eat once a day. And that's all we need. And that's why I said we are all unique. Imagine, just imagine, forget about everything. Whatever I have spoken to you on the science of all this answer, throw it out. Whatever it is. Just imagine we can live on this planet very happily if we eat once a day. And how much consumption comes down? Now you are ready. Now the doctors, the so-called experts have said, every 2 hours you think, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, keep eating. And no other work for women, keep making. Now don't worry, your women want to eat every 2 hours. We have Zomato and Swiss. You don't need Zomato, Swiggy and addresses. We have now drone scan. You only need a smartphone. It will trace you, track you, GPS. You order in your house, come and sit here, it will come and put the McDonald's burger in your mouth. I'm not joking. It's going to happen. It is happening already. That is, they have taken away the kitchens. In fact, the other day, IPM final, Bangalore, ordered 97 lakhs of Zomato Swiggy orders. And on a daily basis, 85 lakhs. Their kitchen is still working in Bangalore. And they get, so where did you lose your health? In the kitchen. And where are you searching? In the hospitals. And what are they giving to you? Tablets, PET scans. And do you expect to be healthy? Steve Jobs, a $1 trillion worth individual, could not eat or drink for 8 months. He died of pancreatic cancer. Alas, if only he were to eat brown top millet fermented porridge, he would have been all right. That's what we have done. Pancreatic cancer patients, we have fed brown top millet fermented porridge for 6 weeks along with barnyard millet, because these two millets, fibre, clean up the digestive canal from mouth to anus, and barnyard millet specially cleans up the endocrine system, that's pancreas, liver, and big soft organs, along with little millet, which actually controls the hormonal balance. So, if you can rotate these 5 rays in a matter of 6 to 10 weeks, your base is built, you start recovering. The reason being, the fiber in these strains starts healing. It is not providing the nutrition. Mala, Mutra, Sweda, Nitra. These are the 4 operations that you throw away the toxic morbid waste you generate in each and every biochemical reaction. Without cleaning your organs, you cannot be healthy. And people are talking all these experts, but nutrition is wrong. Nutrition is wrong. Nutrition is only 50% of the story. The remaining 50% is cleaning the place. Now, you can have however rich palace you have, and if there are no people who are playing, and that's what is happening in all urban areas. The dead bodies are announcing themselves by their bad smell because we have compartmentalized, apartmentalized, accruing the knowledge itself. And that's what we are calling science. So we live a normal life as a whole, not nutrition department, irrigation department, environment department. Life is a whole thing. So when you talk about food, you need to talk about holistic food. A food that cleans, food that nourishes you, food that gives love. And that is millets, because you can grow them without hindering, without disturbing a single living thing on this planet. And you're killing zillions of animals for your food. I get sick listening to animals' cries every day. When I lie down on my bed, I listen to this cries of the roaring animals. Instead of roaring, they're crying. Slaughterhouses all over the world. Culling the birds, culling the animals. And where does this energy go? It is absorbed in the system. It's not disappear. And it is going to affect the energy movement of the planet as a whole. So, all these food experts, so-called nutritionists, beware. There is negative energy created in the name of food. To produce rice, we have been cutting forests, left and right. Only 13% of forest is left. So, you call rice and wheat sattvic food? And our Swamijis have been, don't do no problem, you eat. Come to us, we are Ayurveda Pandits, we will detoxify, Panchakarma. After 3 months, again your problem, come back again. You need to clean your organs, organelles and cells on a daily basis, not daily basis, minute by minute. That means your food should have the cleaning apparatus, and that apparatus is the fiber interloculated while the carbohydrate is made in the millet. Only in millets, the C4 grasses can do that, not rice, wheat. Of course, sugarcane is a very funny plant. It's actually a C4 grass, but it is compartmentalized glucose synthesis that keeps it very different and very special. That's why it guzzles water. I, being a scientist, do not want to hide it. It is a silver glass, but then guzzles water. If you give water, it makes more, because it is the asexual cycle wherein you have the glucose synthesis. Diversity of God's creation. So, sugarcane does not grow everywhere. It requires a specific, special lot of fertility of the soil. But we have wheat because it's good for fertilizer business. As simple as. So, Dr. Khadar, you're telling don't eat sugar. What do we eat? We like sweets. Of course.
We will start, you said we don't know what to eat. I am so happy and glad I've come near you to be that.
I am very successful if you have said that. I am so happy that you're confused. From your confusion, the clarity comes. You need to eat food right. And the right food is something that doesn't disturb your glucose balance, microbial balance, hormonal balance. What is that? That is. So, we have been consuming the water resources of the planet just to produce sugarcane, rice, wheat, and the so-called byproduct of meat, artificial meat. You know how many pigs have been produced on this planet? Artificial pigs. Every year, 10 billion. 8 billion of cows, 100 billion of chicken. In fact, they should not have existed. But the forests have been turned into this meat. And the whole world now is believing that protein is important because we have to consume wheat. That's called beef. Lo and behold, we have one more coming. Blue River. They want to make all the fish, different kinds of fish, make it into genetically modified. And they want to keep fish on the ice cream and producing large quantities, centralized way, consume the nature itself in producing this. And that's why now they're saying food security is not there because the yields of rice and wheat have come down in the last 20 years because the weather is changed, the temperature is rising, and they cannot grow it anymore, even if they are genetically modified. Or so-called science, so-called technology, so-called advanced systems, the yields are falling down. Now you see, we have neglected this 90 acres. Without anyone's effort, I still can grow 900 quintals. Per acre, 10 quintals. Nothing is required, zero disturbance. And each kilo of these millets, if you cook proper, soak it well. Why do you need to soak millets? No soaking is required for our paddy rice and wheat. Can you tell me the reason? There is no fiber here. It's just compound. 0.2 grams on the upper layer of this paddy rice. And 1.2 grams to the wheat, which is removed very diligently by his so-called bleaching techniques. So we have zero fiber. That means if you divide carbohydrate by fiber, the value you get is infinite. That is sickness for you in technical terms. That's why when you eat rice and wheat, the world is becoming sick, sicker, and sickest. I don't think there is a word called sickest, sicker. Because we are losing the fertility. That's why IVF centers, they have discovered for cows, now they are using for humans all over the world. And when you have IVF, the kids born because of wrong food, mentally retarded kids are increasing in percentage. Polling the heart, Vikala physically handicapped, has now, which was 0.3%, now it has become almost 38%. It's not that you're losing health, you're creating something unwanted. And what are we waiting for? All these expert scientists. It's high time we changed our food on this planet. It's high time we changed life on this. Now, Punjab, most beautiful place. Water, just put your hand, there used to be water, 5 rivers. Now you have to dig 1,500 feet. There is only 15 years water left on Punjab land. The 15 years, because if you keep growing rice and wheat, that's all there is. But give me that 15 years water. I will grow for 500 years the real food for you. See the impact, how beautiful, how strong. All these words climate is in the end. You screw up the climate and then say, you have climate. Now give a climate resilient food. No, this has been the food for time immemorial. At least this blip of 100 years. Now the whole planet believes rice and wheat is their food. How sad it is. That means they have brainwashed everyone. Saying these exact words. Primitive food, coarse grains you're eating. Of course it is coarse grains that is your EM food. So it is food for birds, it is food for pigs, it is food for cows, and it is food for you too. Because you are also an animal. Animal with exact hardware that software fits. And it is these 5 brains that have brought back the lost health by eating these so-called fine, refined foods. And that is the science for you. According to me, urbanization is the bane of human civilization. It is the centralized food consumption, food production, and centralized consumption of energy. Each individual can live happily on this planet if we do not live in these congregated concrete buildings. So, my sincere, humble request to all these great achievers, please do plan in your future flow that decentralized living here and real food production, which does not require mining, which does not require damming, which does not require fertilizers, which does not require chemicals to grow real food. Fortification, modification, all these are nonsensical because you are going to create sick people. And food sovereignty is possible with great minimum. Everyone, anywhere and anytime can. So if only just Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh before division, without any rivers, without any water, without any irrigation, can grow food on their parched, non-irrigated lands. I can provide food for whole India, not today. Coming 50 years, even 100 years, even if the population balloons, and the population is not ballooning for your kind information. We are dying. Human civilization is dying because of their own mistake of choosing the wrong food. Because in America and Europe, now we have LGBTs 30%. That means they are not going to produce kids anymore. It's not the natural disasters that are going. We are going to kill ourselves because we are making incapacitated generations into the future. And it's not going to be long. It may be 50 more years so that 30 becomes 60. Period. Close the shop. So we are on way to go. Building, you need higher. We don't need. We have the food enough. Even if there are 70 billion people, if all India produces millets, we can give food free. I'm not saying money. We can just free this. We don't need any investment. And that is the real science. We don't need to sell land. We have enough land to produce food. Only problem is we have declared that it is not food. So, kambu. Ennappa kambu on people backwards. Actually, I ate kambu khichdi today morning, and I don't need food till tomorrow. Eat once, you're healthy. And that's what our ancestors say. Fellow who eats once is yogi. Fellow who eats twice is yogi. Fellow who eats thrice is rogi. But the experts are claiming we keep eating 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. How nuts. because they want to produce roadies. That's acid. So please don't consume food. Please eat food. Enjoy the food that nourishes life forms on this planet. It is not something to consume. So please be careful in choosing the words and giving the credit where it belongs. And anyway you look at it, multidimensional problems of the world. See, where is the question of empowering women? Empowering women. They are the power. It's been diabolically opposite. The men have been doing all the nonsensical things. And then here we are talking empower the women. How sad it is. The power flows from the women. It is women when gives birth, be it a boy or a girl, deposits the inoculum into the mouth if the baby comes out properly through vagina. And that's what begins your immunity. The gut microbes. See, mother has everything that is required. And actually men are supposed to assist for this creation. We just give sperm and forget about it. Of course, after the birth, we need to assist the women to take care. And the oils that we were doing, bull-driven corny oils. Here comes the most important thing. How do we cook our food? Now you climb Everest. The oxygen doesn't stick to your lungs. Am I right? Because the standard temperature and pressure is different. That means when you live, the pressure is right, the oxygen sticks to your lungs. If not, you need ventilators. No ventilator will help you if your oxygen is not sticking in your lungs. Am I right? So, this is the fine-tuned fats that makes these things happen. And that fine-tuned fats cannot be made by another animal. It is you who have to make these fats. That fat material has to be naturally done. So when you extract oil in machines and heat them, gas chambers, this, that, you're changing the nature of oils itself. So when you have bull-driven coconut or groundnut oil, I just tell you for an example, groundnut, that peat has on the groundnut has got a chemical called resveratrol, which is actually the monomer of the fibers that are present in millets, lignans. So it is the monomer, that means building block of fibers in the plants. And that actually is anti-cancers, anti-inflammatory, anti-bacterial, anti-fungal, anti-everything that you do not want. And aging itself. What is aging? You start accumulating glucose under your skin, under your face. So it doesn't allow glucose to rest in any part of the body because it has the mechanism to pull it out, make it something and throw it. Now if I extract the groundnuts in a machine, even if your ghani is wood, it doesn't increase the temperature. But when the RPM of the machine takes over beyond 50 or 100, the pressure is different. Once the pressure is high, this monomer gets wrongly polymerized and the capacity to resist all these kinds goes. So a groundnut oil extracted in that Hachigani bull-driven oils, which were the culture of all villages in India, all throughout India. Now, we have no bull-driven ghani oil at all. In the last 25 years, have been running around villages. We have established maybe more than 10,000 ghanis in different parts of different villages. And we need to bring back lakhs and crores of this real oil, especially the till oil and Niger seed oil, safflower oil. But we have now refined oils. We do not know whether it is oil or not. It's mineral oils and the dalda, the fat material from this meat industry being contaminated. And we have laws and agencies that is making it legal. You see, coconut oil, there is small letters, 9% of mineral oil. You have lost your hair because of hormonal imbalance, because the fats that you are ingesting can disturb your hormone balance. So, I'm not just talking about millets. Food means so many things. Oils, this, that, all have to be natural. But in the name of science and development and progress, in the process of centralizing food production, we have created industrial food in the last 75 years. Whereas food has to be local, produced locally, cooked locally, processed locally. That means the real health is in your kitchens, but we are substituting in the house. So we need wellness centers. We get information to be transferred to teach and every man and woman on this track. About food, high time, we define food, we understand food, we talk about it. Localize your local foods. Are we talking about it? No. We are actually ashamed of talking that I have eaten this, I have eaten that. In fact, I take pride in saying I have not touched sugar, I have not touched milk, I have not touched rice. That's what wheat I don't want to even eat. Now and then I might want to eat rice because while I was growing up I ate rice. Even now it haunts me to eat rice now and then, but I don't. When I travel, if I don't get millet food, I just fast. And that is one of the best ways of being healthy. Fasting does wonders. And that's why our ancestors said, on Ekadasi day, you fast. But of course, we have funny fastings. Poha fasting, fruit fasting, honey water fasting. I actually follow orange fasting. I eat lots of oranges. That's how we are contaminating. This fasting means you do not drink other than water, anything else, for 36 hours. Now, all this follows intermittent fasting. Don't eat for 16 hours and keep eating for 8 hours 5 times. Fasting, once you fill your tummy and allow it, don't disturb the digestive process. In fact, your digestive process is 24 to 36 hours because it takes that much time to convert all the toxic morbid waste and then excrete properly. And that's why I said if you eat once, you're going to be the healthiest fellow. But okay, you want to call yourself bogey twice. So eat well in the morning. And if possible, don't eat in the afternoon. You can partake maybe a cup of buttermilk if you have. Buttermilk, I mean, you cannot get buttermilk of cows because there are there are not many cows. All these cows are not cows. They are machines made by man to give you milk. And you have, in the name of cooperative societies, you have got big corporations of milk, $1 trillion business. There is not necessity of this milk at all for human beings. Not even a single drop of milk is needed for human race. Not even a single drop of milk is needed. the milk belongs to the cows, not to you. Not for you. So these are the big mistakes scientifically we are doing as all human race. And if and only if we correct, we can have real healthy society, real holistic society, real sovereign societies, even secular society. So without sovereignty, there is no full security. These guys are going to genetically modify combo and say, hey, this is better than you. So you stop producing the original varieties, it dies itself. And that's how they have planned to kill every natural seed. By heavens, we now have vegetables, seeds to be brought by these seed companies. We have thousands of varieties of vegetables. Now, vegetables in the word mean carrot, beetroot, cauliflower, broccoli, peanuts. All over the world, salad means, and some relatives were up top there. I eat salad. Just go to any Tamil Nadu small villages. They have a minimum of 48 vegetables. Of course, the north has lost this culture of vegetables. They hardly eat any vegetable. Potato is their biggest vegetable. What do you have? Aloo paratha. What do you have? Aloo khichdi. What do you have? Aloo. All aloo. That paratha means it is tuber with your grains atta and with good amount of oil. So colocasia, elephant yam, sweet yam, like this, many different, actually roots and tubers were the second food items that occupied humans' imagination. They are also complete food, just like millet. Kandamula, all our rishis didn't have time to grow millets also. They were actually gathering, and that's how gathering began. First it was the millets. There are more than almost 8,000 seafood grasses, out of which 200 varieties are food with grains, millets. And many people mistake quinoa to be millet. All these are actually leaves vegetables. So don't mistake. They are nowhere nearby millets. And these are all fats that come and go, things that this business create. So please, actually I speak about what they do. But I have taken a lot of time. And thank you for your patient listening. And believe me, we need to spread the words of millets being the real food, which has been the food for human for generations and generations, not 1,000 years, lakhs of years. All these fellows think it's only 6,000 years, 10,000 years. They were humans long before than your imagination of present day so-called scientists. Because I have lost hope in the Western science magazines, because still today they have not said don't drink milk, don't eat sugar. They're still promoting, and they call themselves scientists. Sorry, with all due respects. If a biologist allowed these things to happen, according to my definition, I may be wrong, but I'm so convinced the science is going nowhere. And millets are the food for the human gut. It was so, it should have been, but it is going to be if we all mind it. Thank you for this opportunity. And again, I'm so humbled to see the women power. And please do not hesitate to establish your rightful power on this planet. Thank you so much. I feel like a small boy, small baby, in front of him. Thank you so much.
So this session with Dr. Khadar Vali ended with a lovely millet-based dinner. This is a millet tart, millet idli, millet vada, millet pulao, millet bhel, and millet curd rice.
Hey, have you subscribed to Munch and Mull? Do click on the subscribe button and press the bell icon to receive notifications of my newest videos uploaded every Saturday.